Dragons have captivated human imagination for centuries. From the distant deserts of Asia to the cold forests of Europe, stories of these majestic and terrifying creatures have left an indelible mark on cultures around the world. Their power, wisdom, and mysterious presence have been the subject of legends, and they become central figures in mythologies, art, and literature. But what if these dragons were not simply fantastical beasts, but creatures that once roamed the earth, part of our world in a way that's far more profound than we ever imagined? The stories of real-life dragons are not just confined to the pages of ancient texts or the flickering shadows of old campfires. In fact, some of the most famous dragon tales are deeply entwined with history, with sightings of these creatures in places as far apart as China, Scotland, and the Middle East. While modern science and study of biology have disproved the existence of fire-breathing monsters, the existence of animals that could have been mistaken for dragons is still plausible. In fact, some creatures, like large reptiles or mysterious beasts, could very well have sparked the legends of these mythical creatures. One of the most famous and enduring stories of a real-life dragon comes from the shores of the Black Sea. Here, during the ancient reign of King Amasis of Egypt, an enormous serpent-like creature was said to have terrorized the coastal cities. This massive creature was described as having a serpentine body, multiple heads, and the ability to produce a terrifying hiss that could shake the very ground. The myth of the sea serpent grew so powerful that it eventually became an emblem of power in the region. It is said that the people of these cities revered the creature, attributing their prosperity and good fortune to its presence. In the hills of Central Asia, another dragon story takes us to the legendary kingdom of Zoroastrianism. The ancient Iranians spoke of a creature called Azdaha, a fearsome dragon that lived beneath the earth and could rise up to threaten the kingdom. The myth was so widespread that the ancient kings of Persia, most notably King Khosrow II, began to believe that the dragon had real power. They thought it controlled the harvests, the success of wars, and the fate of the kingdom itself. The Azdaha's presence was associated with an ancient belief in duality, where dragons represented the forces of chaos and destruction that were constantly battling the forces of order and creation. But as the centuries passed, the dragons disappeared from public consciousness, fading into myth. However, they didn't vanish completely. The modern world, with its exploration and scientific progress, uncovered remnants of dragon-like creatures. One of the most famous dragon sightings in recorded history happened in the year 1780, when a large, scaly creature was discovered off the coast of the Philippines. Local villagers spoke of a creature that resembled the ancient dragons of old, a beast with scales that shimmered in the sun, and a terrifying roar that echoed through the forest. Perhaps the most famous story of real-life dragons comes from the early years of Christianity in Europe. Legend has it that St. George, the patron saint of England, slew a terrible dragon that had been terrorizing a small village in modern-day Turkey. The dragon was said to have demanded the sacrifice of young virgins from the village, and the people had no choice but to offer up one girl after another. When the king's daughter was selected, St. George arrived just in time to save her. With a single blow from his sword, the dragon was slain, bringing peace to the village. This story, while widely known and beloved, is thought by many to have been based on a real dragon or reptilian creature that threatened the area. But as the story was told and retold, it took on a more fantastical quality. Archaeological evidence, such as dragon-shaped stones found near ancient ruins, suggests that creatures similar to dragons may have once lived in the area. Whether this creature was an actual dragon or simply an extraordinarily large and dangerous reptile, the legend of St. George and the dragon continues to hold an important place in the hearts of those who study the intersection of myth and history. In the rugged mountains of northern Scotland, the legend of the Loch Ness Monster shares similar traits with dragon stories. Nessie, as she's affectionately called, has been cited by thousands of people over the centuries. Descriptions of her range from a massive serpent-like creature to a long-necked dragon. Scientists have tried to explain these sightings by pointing to the presence of large fish or unusual water patterns, but the legend remains, partially because the mysterious nature of the Loch Ness area lends itself to these kinds of myths. Could it be that a rare species of aquatic reptile once lived in the depths, and what people have interpreted as a monster could simply be the remnants of a dragon-like species? As we travel east, we encounter the fabled creatures of Chinese mythology. Here, dragons are seen as symbols of strength, prosperity, and good fortune, While many dragons in Chinese culture are revered and are believed to bring luck, the stories surrounding them are rooted in deep historical myths. In ancient times, the Chinese people believed that the emperor was a direct descendant of the dragon, the great protector and benefactor of the people. Dragons were depicted in art, sculptures, and royal symbols, and their mythological significance transcended the simple idea of a creature that could fly or breathe fire. Instead, they symbolize the harmony of the elements, the cycles of nature, and the power of the heavens. One of the most mysterious and chilling dragon-related myths comes from the Mongolian steppes. Here, the people spoke of the black dragon, a creature so large and terrifying that it could swallow an entire village in a single night. The black dragon was said to live in the caves beneath the mountains and was feared not only for its size but for the dark magic it wielded. While it's unclear whether such a creature ever existed, the myth of the black dragon was so deeply ingrained in the culture that it became a part of the Mongolian national consciousness. Some say it was an actual dragon that terrorized the land, while others believe it was a metaphor for the destructive power of nature itself. Moving through Africa, we encounter the stories of the Ngubu, a creature that many believe is a type of dragon that still roams parts of Central Africa. With a long, scaly body and a head shaped like a crocodile, the Ngubu is said to have the power to intimidate even the bravest of warriors. Some describe it as a fire-breathing beast that is only seen in the depths of the jungle. Others think it is a living relic from the time when dragons roamed the earth. Legends of the Ngubu were passed down through generations, and while most Westerners dismiss them as folklore, there are still those who believe the creature exists in the wilds of Africa, waiting to be discovered. Finally, we return to Europe, where we find the famous tale of the Welsh dragon. This dragon, whose image appears on the Welsh national flag, is said to have fought in a great battle to defend the land from invaders. The Welsh dragon represents the spirit and strength of the Welsh people. While the true origins of this myth are uncertain, it is believed to be based on the sightings of an enormous reptilian creature that terrorized the Welsh countryside centuries ago. Whether fact or myth, the Welsh dragon's image remains a symbol of national pride, an emblem of resilience in the face of adversity. The stories of real-life dragons are not just the stuff of fantasy. They are deeply embedded in the culture and history of the regions they come from. From ancient civilizations to modern-day sightings, the myth of dragons endures. These creatures, whether real or imagined, continue to stir the imagination and inspire wonder. Could these mythical creatures have once roamed the earth? And if they did, what did they look like? What were they capable of? And perhaps most importantly, why do we still tell their stories? The legends of real-life dragons may be fading into history, but their mystery endures, waiting to be discovered once again.